Hello guys, let's begin with the salient features of PWDVA. It is a civil law except section 3133 where criminal proceedings are involved. So as such, the whole law is a civil legislation. Civil legislation means which will not provide the punishments as a general rule. It will only provide the civil remedies which are compensation or monetary relief. Fine. But under section 31 and 33 of this act, criminal proceedings are also involved. That means it also provides for initiation of criminal proceedings, so that under civil and criminal both ways the husband or the family can be punished. Primary objective is to provide monetary relief, that is compensation and support to the women, as we have dealt with in the last video also, that parents at some parents, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them, they are not ready to support the daughter at such point. So for such support to the women, it is the primary objective. This is contrary to criminal law. Contrary means opposite, which intends to primarily punish the perpetrators. So criminal law is what? You have done a crime, you will be punished for that, and uski punishment bhi साथ ही साथ में दी होती है, right? So the main aim of criminal law is to punish the wrongdoers. Perpetrator means wrongdoer, who has done a wrongful act. Wrongful act is nothing but crime, and since he has done that, he has to be punished to create a deterrence. That is an example, so that the like-minded people in the future may not repeat the act. Enforcing criminal law depend upon the state, police, prosecution, lawyer, that how they will be implemented. Enforce means to implement. Prosecution means who prosecutes, right? So that is actually the government lawyer. इसीलिए यहाँ पर ये state भी दिया हुआ है. State means the government. So government fights the case on behalf of the victim. As I have told you in one of the previous lectures as well, that crime is something which is done against the whole society, not only against the primary victim of the case. As a civil law, it is victim driven, means it has central focus on the victim, that how you have to deal with the victim, provide her with all the services or all kind of support that she needs. ठीक है, इसका main aim punishment देना नहीं है, but इसका main aim है victim को rehabilitate करना. She has direct access to the court, means she can directly approach the court. From there, she will also have the counseling, she will have the support services, she will have the service providers appointed and all such things. Rights and reliefs under PWDVA can only be initiated with the consent of women. Of course, like if she wants to proceed with the case, then only the case will be filed on her behalf, then only she will be getting the remedies. So whatever reliefs are or whatever rights she can claim, that has to be initiated with the consent of such women. If she does not want to complain or she does not want to file a petition, how can the government can? Right? Government is there to help you, but you also have to help yourself. PWDVA describes domestic relationships broadly. That means it has given a very wide ambit, that all such relations will fall under the ambit of domestic relationships, so that even those distinct relatives or any so far how they are connected within that family sphere, they may come under this and they may be prosecuted, or they may be punished, or they may be sanctioned, because two of the sections provide criminal proceedings as well. Broadly includes wives, mothers, sisters, daughters and live-in partners. All of these are provided protection. So as it is said that it main aim is victim driven, so under domestic relationships it includes who all can be the victims. So not only the daughter-in-law, but sometimes ऐसा हो जाए कि daughter-in-law ऐसी आई है, suppose कि उसने मदर इन लॉ का जीना हराम किया हुआ है. फाइन, सो दैट कैन बी द मदर इज द विक्टिम, और इफ इन द पैटर्नल होम ऑफ द, और इफ छोड़ो पैटर्नल होम छोड़ो, कोई एक ऐसा घर है जहाँ पर देर इज नो मदर, ओके, मदर हैज डाइड और डाइवोर्स्ड और व्हाटएवर, दे आर ओनली मेल्स एंड देर इज वन सिस्टर of the brothers. So it would be like there is a father, son and there is one sister. तो इनकी डॉटर हुई ना, वो तो मैंने डी लिख दिया, ठीक है. Now this daughter is subjected to the sexual abuse by her brothers. Fine. So now she will be filing against the case against the brothers. So sister is subjected to the abuse, we can say. Fine. That is how the things Can. B. Daughters and living partners. Living relationship में जो रहते हैं, they may not fall under the wife or under the expression of wife as such, right? So उसके ambit में live-in partners का status दे दिया. So a sister can be the daughter also, but if the father is subjecting her to the abuse, then it will be under the category of daughter that she will claim the relief. If the brothers are subjecting her to, she will be under the category of sisters, right? So that's how you have to take the relations. The protection under PWDVA is not limited to matrimonial home but covers shared householder to include mother, sister, daughters as well, since it is not limiting the victim to be a wife only. So that's why it can be said that it is not limited only to the matrimonial home concept, because their wife only will be the victim, but covers shared householder to include all such other women that can be in the family. और other women in the family क्या होंगी? Mother, sister, daughter. So उनको भी include किया जा रहा है, इसलिए वो shared householder बोल रहे हैं, that all the other people who can be in the same household. Fine. Then it provides for stop violence orders. Stop violence order mean that you stop the violence which you are doing immediately, and therein also the emergency reliefs will be provided कि अभी के situation को हम कैसे cater करें. तो अभी तुरंत हमें रोकना है, that is something emergent to be done immediately. So how that has to be done, that is also provided in that order. It is an additional law. Why additional? Because पहले से they were punished under the criminal laws, right? Or Family Codes Act was also there for some purpose, or it was a ground of divorce, right? So वो सारी चीज़ें हैं. Divorce भी personal law में claim करने जाओगे, that will be again a civil law, और उसमें भी हो सकता है maintenance देनी पड़े to the wife, है ना? As a ground of cruelty you are claiming divorce, and after divorce your husband has to give maintenance to the wife or alimony to the wife. So that is again a civil remedy. Or it may also be criminal if you go under section 125 of CRPC, that is Code of Criminal Procedure. Fine. But these are all laws were still prevalent, and this is something new, a special legislation which is for some specific purpose of protecting women from domestic violence, right? That's why it is said additional law. किसी के addition में आया है ये, right? And allows women to enforce other laws such as the divorce laws as well. So that means it can complement other laws. It can go parallel and together with the other laws as well. So not only that I am claiming divorce under cruelty and then I will also seek maintenance. But apart from that, if cruelty is domestic violence, not if cruelty is domestic violence, either physical or mental or psychological, sexual, whatever, then this law can also be, इसके provisions भी add हो सकते हैं. That's why अच्छा आपने तो अभी केस फाइल्स वगैरह नहीं देखी होंगी, बट जब भी किसी क्रुएलिटी का या ऐसे अंडर द हाउस रिलेशनशिप्स का कुछ भी सेक्शन लगता है, तो IPC, CRPC, मेंटेनेंस, डाइवोर्स एंड दिस PWDA, ये सब पैरेलल जाता है, एक साथ लगता है. They all come in a group, you can say. For the effective implementation of law, PWDVA offers both access to justice and support systems. So, by filing the case, justice can be achieved, because whatever the court decides, that will be to do justice between the parties, right? And the immediate reliefs, that is support system, can also be provided. Protection officers operate as a nexus between court and women. Nexus means a link. They form the link between court and women to ensure accessibility to the justice system, because they will also protect the women. They will provide her with the necessary services or the support and care that she needs, the financial care or the legal assistance that she needs, okay? And also ensures that women is provided the access to the justice system, and she appears in the court regularly so that she may give her testimony or what all she was subjected to, and then the effective relief can be provided to her by the court. So link between women and court किस लिए होगा? ताकि जो भी court relief provide कर रही है वो सही तरीके से women तक पहुंच पाए. These protection officers are actually women. इससे अच्छा क्या होगा, right? So the people who are protecting women is women, so that another chance of any such other kind of violence is not there, right? And especially in today's society, in today's situation, what is there, कि जहाँ पर भी कोई मेल या फीमेल साथ में होते हैं, देयर इज़ ऑलवेज अ डाउट दैट अब्यूज़ हो सकता है हमारे साथ, या विमेन की डिग्निटी पे बात आ सकती है. देयर मे बी समथिंग रॉन्ग विच कैन बी डन बाय द मैन on the women, and these are the maximum of cases. The males who are listening to this, please, I'm sorry, don't get offended, but it is the majority of the case which is happening, and I'm just sharing my opinion. It may not be the presumption, and some males can actually be good who do not have such intentions towards any girl or woman who is moving in front of them or in their surroundings, but it is the majority of cases in which women do feel unsafe while walking alone because of the reason that I have mentioned. So these protection officers are also women, usually, that is in most of the cases. Their role includes assisting, that is helping women in filing applications, seeking various reliefs, because women, they may be layman, majority they may not be lawyers, or they may not be someone who have eminent knowledge in the field of law or the legal provisions or the rights or reliefs that they can claim, right? So they will need help on such things. They will need help to file applications, to have a lawyer for that matter, right? To be aware of the rights which are provided by the government, by the legislations in place for them. So all that will be helped by these officers. Assisting the magistrate, that is the judge, in discharge of his functions. So it helps both ways, the women also and the court also. That's why it drew the nexus between the two. Making women aware about their right to get free legal aid, as I mentioned, and providing women shelter homes, medical services, etc. So this I have explained you why shelter homes and medical service has to be given. PWTVA also envisages service providers, envisages means includes or provides for the service providers, that is NGOs, non-governmental organization, who voluntarily means apne aap se, on their own wish, on their own will, that is voluntary, register under the act. That means there are some NGOs which are not, since it is non-governmental, so it is not associated with the government, but there are some NGOs established which tend to work on their own will on a particular issue, right, which is prevalent in the society, so that those people who are the victims of such acts or such issues, they are provided the help. So apne man se they volunteer themselves, they come in front to help such victims, right? So ये basically काम होता है NGO का. So they get themselves registered under the act, and there is no compulsion that you are an NGO made for helping women, so now come, I'm forcing you, or it is mandatory for you to get registered under the act. Because what will happen if you are registering yourself under the act, then you have to obey the act, of course, and obeying the act means you would have to provide the services to such victims who will come or who want to seek the remedy, राइट आपको उनको सर्विस प्रोवाइड करनी पड़ेगी ना. सो ऐसा कुछ मैंडेटरी नहीं है, कंपल्शन नहीं है एनजीओज में जो कि विमेन के एनहांसमेंट या उनके एम्पावरमेंट के लिए काम कर रही हैं, बट इट इज़ ऑन देयर विल इफ दे वांट टू गेट देमसेल्फ रजिस्टर्ड और दे वांट टू वर्क फॉर द वेलफेयर ऑफ द विमेन और फॉर द एम्पावरमेंट विदाउट गेटिंग देमसेल्फ रजिस्टर्ड. ऐसा नहीं है कि बिना रजिस्ट्रेशन के वो जो काम कर रहे हैं वो नहीं कर पाएंगे फॉर द वेलफेयर. दे कैन डू, but registering means they have to obey and work according to the provisions of the act. To deliver her with essential support she might require, such as shelter and medical facility, they are crucial, as women often would feel more comfortable approaching an NGO rather than police or state authorities. डर होता है एक, है ना, एक वो भी होता है that they are a high rank post. So there is a fear that I will not be comfortable or and easy to converse with the police or the government directly and tell them that what all has happened with me. But it may be comfortable for a woman, or safer she would feel, to disclose all that details to an NGO worker. So in that case, they are crucial. If you want to find more on NGO, you can just Google down by writing role of NGOs, and it will give you a list that how it bridges the gap. And it really has a very important role to play in the society, because it goes at the ground level and the field work it does, and it actually reaches out to the underprivileged or to the vulnerable sections of the society in a greater manner or in a more effective manner than the government or its officials can ever do. PWDVA stipulates for single window clearance system to aid women in accessing the justice system. Single window means एक ही system रहेगा in which women can use this act to enforce other civil reliefs under other laws as well, such as criminal law. ठीक है, so it clears one window under which you can also, as I said in one of the other features which we did above also, that it runs parallel, it is an additional law, so other civil or criminal reliefs can also be enforced. For example, she can use one PWDVA suit to enforce her right to not be dispossessed. Dispossessed means to do her without the possession. Possession means to occupy a piece of land. If I am living in my house, I am possessing, or I am in the possession of that house. I possess that. Okay. Ownership and possession are two different things. Ownership means I have the house in my name. But possession means I'm living in that house, I'm occupying that house, or I'm using the land to live there. Fine. So dispossessed means कि where she is living in the matrimonial house, वहाँ से उसको निकाला ना जाए till the time the suit is pending in the court. ठीक है. So she can also file for not to be dispossessed from the house in which she is living at the time, maybe her paternal home or matrimonial home whatsoever, since parents may be angry that she has filed for a divorce petition, so they may outcast her from the house. But if she files for this thing, right not to be dispossessed under section 498A of IPC, then that can also work. That is, see, Indian Penal Code is a criminal law and she's pairing a civil law with criminal law. That runs parallel, and as I told you, PWDVA sections come with a group, and this is section 498A IPC is one of the section of that group. You should remember it. It is very important and you will see it every time. ये section आपको हर जगह मिलेगा जहाँ पर भी कोई domestic violence का case है और आप कोई FIR देखो उसकी या कोई case file देखो in future, if you want to do something more in this subject, तो ये section हमेशा PWDVA के एक section के साथ आपको मिलेगा. They always go hand in hand. It provides that the magistrate may at any stage of proceedings, now at any stage of proceedings means proceedings का कुछ stage होता है. First is the institution of the suit, then there will be investigation, inquiry, then there may be the trial, there may be settlement of issues, right? There may be the stage when the judgment has to be pronounced after the trial. So at any stage, the magistrate or the judge direct either one or both the parties to undertake counseling with any member of service provider. ठीक है, so whoever is the service provider and any of the party who needs counseling, which may appear to the court, and it is upon the court's discretion, of course, because it is written magistrate may means there is no compulsion on the magistrate to do it mandatorily. Fine, it is on the discretion, उसकी मर्जी पर है magistrate की, that if he or she feels that any of the spouse or parties to the suit, they need some counseling or they need some कि conciliation के chances हैं या इनकी mental counseling करवानी ज़रूरी है, then that can also be ordered with the respective service provider. Fine. And suppose you go to, or your cable is not coming, what do? You contact with the cable service provider. Why? Because that person has a knowledge that how he has to get it back, right? How he has to attach the wires or whatever they do. They have the knowledge and qualification of doing that. So similarly, if there is a service provider in this case, then they would also have the required qualification, experience or knowledge of the matter, that how such counseling or support system has to be provided to such people. Women groups are critical to the counseling provision as it is often seen as a tool for preserving marriage and placing the women back in the violent situation, right? So it is critical means बहुत serious role है इनका. It is not a joke. It is not something funny, right? Or something which you can do negligently. You have to be very careful, very serious while you are discharging this duty as a service provider, because under counseling what you have to do is you have to place the women in the original position where she was before such act of violence was done against her. And placing her to that position also means that she has to be sent back to the matrimonial home, because that is the only way her marriage can be preserved. And law will never straightforwardly or directly go to the separation of the couple. It will always and always try to preserve the marriage. So by counseling, placing the women back means you have to preserve the marriage again. And for that, again, always or most of the times, it is the women of the family who has the responsibility of doing adjustments, no matter how adverse the situation can be for her dignity, for her life. But she only has that responsibility on her shoulders to do the maximum of adjustments that she can do till the last breath of her life. So it is a very serious role. That counseling has to be done very seriously, very on an emotional level, on a serious level, that has to be conducted. Fine, very delicately also. It puts responsibility on central and state governments for training, sanitization of general public and state authorities, including judiciary. So the central and state governments, they have the responsibility for providing the support services, for training such service providers also. And sensitization means they are also the general public are made aware of such laws, and to deal with such things with sensitivity, utmost sensitivity. As I said, you have to, sometimes showing empathy to such cases works, because you may not be at that position, but you have to keep yourself at that position, and then you have to sometimes give justice. You have to do something, you have to take steps or provide the necessary facilities by keeping yourself in that position. कि क्या अगर मैं यहाँ होती तो मैं ऐसा कर पाती? That would I, after all that violence which was subjected on me, would I like to go back to that house between those people? Because at the back of my mind, what I will be remembering, और क्या मुझे बार बार दिमाग में आएगा कि इन्हीं लोगों ने मेरे साथ ये काम किया था, and maybe that I will not be able to respect them anymore. So आप समझ रहे हो किस लेवल की काउंसलिंग की ज़रूरत है इधर, और कितनी सीरियस सिचुएशन है. जस्ट सेंडिंग हर बैक डजंट मीन कि आप उसको फिजिकली वहां पर जाकर बैठा रहे हो कि अब तुमको यहीं रहना है, हम तुमको छोड़ा है तुम्हारे घर, बट ऑल्सो कि मेंटली उसका मन भी करे वहां रहने का, या उसका मन ऐसे करे कि हाँ, आई एम गिविंग अ सेकेंड चांस टू माई रिलेशनशिप, आई एम रेडी टू डू दैट. फाइन, बिकॉज रिलेशनशिप ऐसे तो नहीं बच सकती, थोड़ा बहुत कॉम्प्रोमाइज तो करना पड़ता है. सो दैट हैज़ टू बी डन. Anyways, so that is sensitization. In matters of violence against women, international legal standards have played inspirational role, as I told you, including judiciary, lawmakers, numerous women groups. PWTVA itself has drawn heavily on those international legal standards. But even prior to the enactment of this act, Indian judiciary relied on international legal framework, because there was nothing on the national arena or on the national legal framework, kuch tha nahi to work on this law. So they had to draw inspiration from the international ones. One more example of this case is the Vishakha guidelines, which were given by the Supreme Court, क्योंकि तभी ये POSH Act आया, right? So अब कुछ है नहीं इंडिया में तो कहाँ से लें, कुछ गाइडलाइंस प्रोवाइड करनी है. एंड जुडिशरी कैन नॉट फ्रेम लॉस, राइट, सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर्स दैट वी डिड. So it does not has that function to perform, and it cannot encroach upon the function of the other organ of government. It cannot encroach upon and take on the duty of legislature or executive, that now I will be framing laws on this subject, because legislature has not done its duty well, so now it is a punishment that I am not giving the legislature the chance to frame. Fine, it cannot be done, right? So guidelines provided कर सकता है जुडिशरी कि आप ये है, and now it is the need that you frame such law, right? Because such cases are increasing. And what is the main purpose? Like I will do this at workplace later on in the next video. So the main purpose is that since there is no national framework and the Indian people have to be governed by the Indian laws, right? So there is a need to make a law. एंड कोई भी लेजिस्लेशन तभी बन कर आएगा जब उसकी नीड अराइज होती है ना. जब तक नीड अराइज नहीं होगी, हमें पता कैसे चलेगा कि हमें इस चीज़ की ज़रूरत है? जब ज़रूरत होगी तभी तो हम वो चीज़ घर लेकर आते हैं ना. तो सिमिलरली व्हेन देयर इज अ नीड फेल्ट, देन ओनली सच लेजिस्लेशंस कम इनटू प्लेस. फाइन. So this sexual harassment at workplace we will do in the next video. Thank you so much.